Imagine waking up to hear that your town, your home, must move, not because of a war or a big flood, but because the ground under it is slowly breaking apart. This is the real situation for Kiruna, a city in Sweden. Kiruna is located very far north, above the Arctic Circle. It is a city with about 18,000 people. Right now, this city is doing something never seen before. It is moving its whole city center about 3 kilometers to the east. This big move started around 2013 and will finish in 2035. Why must it move? Beneath Kiruna is one of the world's biggest iron ore deposits. For over 100 years, people have been digging for iron. This constant digging has made the ground weak. Now, the city itself is starting to crack and sink. If it stays, it will collapse into the earth. So the people of Kiruna face a hard choice: move the entire city or let it fall into the mine that created it. This is where the story gets more interesting. Below the iron, scientists have found something even more important. It is Europe's biggest known deposit of special metals called rare earth elements. These metals are very important for making electric cars and wind turbines. So Kiruna is not just a city damaged by mining in the past. It might also hold the key to Europe's green future. This unique situation leads to many questions. How do you move 18,000 people? How do you move old, important buildings, like a historic church? What about the graves and the dead? How do you plan such a massive undertaking? This is a global experiment. Kiruna sits on minerals that could help save the planet by providing materials for clean energy. But these same minerals could also doom the city if the mining continues without care. The story of Kiruna is about many things. It shows big engineering projects, the sad feelings of a community losing its old home, and the rights of the Sami people, who are the first people of this land. It makes us think about what home truly means. Kiruna's experience is like a small example of what many other cities might face soon. With rising seas, extreme weather, and the need for resources, more towns might need to leave their places. Kiruna is not just a strange place in the Arctic. It is a lesson for the world, showing us a possible future and how people might adapt. The town of Kiruna did not grow naturally. It was built from nothing in the vast, cold tundra of northern Sweden. This land, far above the Arctic Circle, was once home to the indigenous Sami people and their reindeer. In the late 1800s, a large mining company called LKAB started to dig for iron ore there. The company needed many workers. These workers needed a place to live, so LKAB decided to create a town. It was, in the most literal sense, manufactured to serve the mine. In 1900, a man named Per Olaf Hallman was chosen to design the new town. He thought carefully about the harsh Arctic weather. Hallman planned the settlement on a south-facing hill. This helped to get much sunlight from the pale Arctic sun. He also made the streets curved. These curved streets followed the natural shape of the land. This design helped to block strong, cold winds. In such a freezing place, even a little warmth and less wind made a big difference. It turned a hard place into one where people could truly survive and be comfortable. Over the years, Kiruna grew into a proper city. The mine provided almost 90% of all the iron ore in Europe, making it very important for the entire continent. A beautiful church was built in 1912, made of red wood. Its design looked like a Sami hut. It became a central place for the town's spirit. Later, a city hall was built. It was a civic building that residents called the town's living room. It was a cozy place for everyone to meet. Schools, hospitals, libraries, and homes quickly followed. Kiruna gained all the parts that make a place feel like a real community, not just a temporary work camp. The mine deeply shaped daily life. Workers often had a schedule of 3 weeks working and 1 week off. The mine controlled the weekly rhythm, social events, and the economy of the whole region. There was a strong connection between the people and the mine. Kiruna existed because of LKAB. The mine's ambitions were always to dig deeper. This was because the ore became richer further down. So the mine kept growing bigger every decade, expanding its tunnels underground. It became the biggest underground iron ore mine in the world. The town was designed for comfort and survival, a warm place in a cold land. But its people did not know then that the mine, which gave them life, would one day grow so large it would start to take their town back. The ground breaks. In 2004, the residents of Kiruna could no longer ignore a serious problem. The ground beneath their city began to show clear signs of cracking and shifting. Large fissures appeared in buildings, and roads started to break. Some areas of the town sank by several centimeters each year. This was not a sudden catastrophe or quick disaster. Instead, it was a slow, steady, and inexorable reveal of a deep issue. The mining company, LKAB, officially told the local government about the problem in 2004. Decades of deep mining had weakened the earth under the town. Big cracks were opening throughout the area. LKAB's forecast said that the entire city center and many essential services would become unsafe within 20 years. Hospitals cracked, school foundations shifted, and roads developed sinkholes. The main cause was LKAB's extensive iron ore extraction. The vast underground caverns left behind were causing the surface land to sink, a process known as ground deformation. The western part of the town, closest to the mine shaft, was most at risk, but the problem was spreading. The mine had, in effect, been slowly hollowing out the very foundations of the city built above it. Now, the consequences were clear. The scale of the problem was enormous. The shifting land threatened the safety of residents. Leaders faced a very difficult choice. They could close the mine, which would cause an economic disaster for Kiruna, as the mine was the town's main source of jobs and income. Or they could move the entire city out of the mine's path. This second option sounded like an immense logistical challenge, an engineering nightmare. After careful consideration, the Swedish government, LKAB, and the Kiruna municipality decided on the latter. The mine would continue its operations, and the city would move. This decision created a powerful paradox. Kiruna had to destroy its existing self to ensure its survival. Moving a whole city meant disrupting thousands of lives, erasing neighborhoods full of memories, and asking a community to sever its connections to its beloved landmarks. This huge undertaking set the stage for a unique and massive relocation. 4. Moving the big church. The move of Kiruna was a big and exciting project.
One of the most amazing parts was moving the large Kiruna church. This church was built in 1912. It had red-painted wood and looked like a Sami hut, a traditional indigenous dwelling.
It was a very important building for the people, known as the town's soul. Imagine moving a building that weighs over 600 tons and is nearly 40 meters tall. This was a true spectacle. After many years of planning, the church was finally moved in August 2025. Workers placed it on special trailers that could be controlled from far away. These trailers slowly carried the church 3 kilometers to the new town center. The journey was difficult, with tight turns and narrow roads. Every step had to be very carefully planned to keep the old church safe from harm. Many people came to watch this historic event. It was shown live on Swedish television, making it a national moment. Crowds gathered along the path to see the church move across the land. When it arrived at its new home, music played and people cheered loudly. Bells rang and officials declared the move a big success. Even the Swedish king Carl XVI Gustaf visited the site to celebrate this achievement. This single relocation of the church alone cost about $52 million. For the people of Kiruna, saving this beloved landmark felt like a good price to pay. Other parts of the city also changed greatly. The old town hall, which many residents affectionately called the city's living room, was too difficult and expensive to move whole. So it was carefully taken down. But its special bell tower, a familiar sight for generations, was saved. This tower was then moved to stand proudly next to the new town hall, connecting the past with the future. This new building looks very modern. It has sharp, clear shapes like a crystalline structure. Its design was inspired by the mineral formations of iron ore found in the ground, showing the deep link between the city and the mine that created it. The new town hall's interesting geometry was meant to connect with the city's mining history. Moving an entire city is a massive and very expensive task. So far, the mining company LKAB has spent about $1.8 billion on the relocations since 2006. This huge project shows great ambition and amazing technical skills. It is a mix of looking to the future with modern plans and using strong mechanical force to move heavy things. The people of Kiruna are seeing their city move, piece by piece, as they build a new future on new ground. 5. Losing the old home. The physical act of moving Kiruna deeply affected the people who lived there. It caused a strong sadness and worry among residents, a feeling like losing a fundamental part of their world. Their familiar environment was changing so much that it no longer felt like home. For many, this distress was like losing a part of their own identity. The familiar sights, the everyday sounds, and the small habits linked to their old neighborhood, all these were slowly being dismantled, leaving an empty feeling where a vibrant community once stood. Many residents also felt that the process was not truly democratic. Although officials held many meetings and conducted surveys to ask for people's thoughts, some felt these efforts were just for show. They believed that the big decisions, especially about continuing the mining operations that caused the move, had already been made by the mining company LKAB and the Swedish government. One resident shared that it felt like they were used as alibis to make the process appear democratic, but ordinary people had
a very, very small window to make a real influence. This created a feeling of powerlessness, adding to their sense of loss. A particularly sensitive and unsettling task involved moving the dead. The historic Kiruna Church, a smaller chapel with a columbarium, a place for urns, and a memorial grove were all scheduled for relocation. This meant that over 5,000 deceased individuals had their graves moved. This was noted as the largest relocation of human remains in Swedish history. For the living community, this act was a profound disruption to their relationship with their past and their ancestors. It made people think about what truly connects them to their homeland. When iconic buildings like the beloved Old Town Hall were demolished because they were too costly to move, it was more than just removing physical structures. It meant tearing down places where generations of memories were created.
The town hall, which residents fondly called the city's living room, was a central gathering spot. Seeing pieces of this building later put on display in a museum in Stockholm felt strange to many. It was as if their collective history was being turned into artifacts removed from the everyday life they once anchored. The entire process raised a critical question. What happens to the heart and soul of a community when its landmarks, meeting places, and shared memories are erased or moved? This feeling of melancholy spread among the residents. They faced the challenge of adapting to a new city, hoping it would eventually feel like home, even with the deep sadness for what was forever left behind. The transformation affected not only the physical environment, but also the emotional landscape of Kiruna's people. Chapter 6: The Reindeer and the Money. Chapter 6 of Kiruna's story looks at two important things: the Sami people and valuable metals found deep underground. These elements bring both new opportunities and new problems. Before Kiruna, the town was built, the vast cold land belonged to the Sami. They are the indigenous people of Sapmi, a large area across northern Europe. For thousands of years, their culture has been deeply connected to reindeer herding. Reindeer need wide spaces to move and find food, following ancient migration routes. This way of life is central to their identity, language, and traditions. The iron mine grew bigger over time.
Its growing size cut directly through these old reindeer paths. New roads and railways, built for the mining industry, made it harder for the reindeer to travel safely. This directly threatened the Sami's traditional way of life. The mine's work also damaged lakes, so the Sami could no longer fish there. These changes hurt their ability to keep their culture and language alive. Lars Markus Kuhuminen, a Gabna Sami leader, shared his great-grandfather's old prediction that the mine is going to eat up our way of life, our reindeer herding. Today, looking at the changed land, his words seem true. This situation created a difficult conflict. The Swedish government is a major owner of LKAB, the mining company. This means the same government meant to protect Sami rights also profits from the mining that harms them. Because of this, the Sami's concerns often do not get much attention in the news. Then, a new discovery complicated things even more. In January 2023, LKAB announced they found a very large amount of rare earth elements near the existing iron ore mine. This new deposit, called Per Geir, is the biggest known in Europe. Rare earth metals are very important for modern technologies. They are key parts of electric cars, wind turbines, smartphones, and even military systems. Europe needs these rare earths for its green energy plans. Right now, most come from China.
Finding them in Kiruna could help Europe become less dependent on other countries for these vital materials. Swedish leaders were excited, calling Sweden a gold mine and key to Europe's green future. However, this news brought more worry for the Sami. The Per Geir deposit is in an area that will further cut into the narrow migration corridor the Gabnesami B still uses. This could divide the Gabnesami village into two, making it very hard for reindeer to move freely. This situation shows a clear paradox. Technologies meant to save the planet from climate change, like electric vehicles, need these mined materials. But this mining often damages nature and the lands of indigenous people. So the push for a green future can ironically mean destroying traditional ways of life. The question is, who pays the real cost of this progress? Often it is the Sami people, who have less power and whose concerns are often overlooked. The path to mining these rare earths will also take many years for permits and exploration. This adds to the deep tension between economic ambition and protecting a unique culture. 7. The Cold New City. The new city of Kiruna was planned with modern ideas and fresh designs. Many new buildings, homes, and public spaces are now complete. These new structures look shiny and advanced, marking a big change from the older parts of the city. However, residents have found an unexpected problem with their new home. Despite all the advanced technology and careful planning, the new Kiruna is proving to be much colder and windier than the old city center it replaces. Studies from a university showed that in winter, temperatures in the new city can be as much as 10 degrees Celsius lower than in the old Kiruna. This is a significant difference and a major issue for a place located so far north, above the Arctic Circle. The main reason for this colder climate lies in the city's design choices. The original Kiruna, designed by Per Olaf Hallman in 1900, was carefully placed on a south-facing hill. This clever plan allowed the town to catch as much low Arctic sunlight as possible, helping to keep it warmer. Hallman also designed the streets with gentle curves to break the strong, biting winds. He truly understood the local climate and built the city to be a warm, protected living room in a frozen land. In contrast, the architects of the new Kiruna did not fully use this local knowledge. They built tall, modern buildings that cast long shadows, blocking the sun for many hours of the day. The new main square, intended to be a central meeting place, often feels like a wind tunnel to residents. Cold air gathers easily in this open area, making it very uncomfortable to spend time outside. Even playgrounds for children and balconies on new apartments are sometimes placed facing north, where they get even less of the precious winter sun. These small factors add up to a less pleasant living experience. People feel a sense of frustration. Billions of dollars have been spent, and world-class architects were hired for this huge undertaking. Yet they seem to have overlooked basic environmental needs. The new city, while looking modern and impressive, sadly lacks the human-focused comfort that was so important in the old town. This oversight has made daily life harder for many, especially during the long, dark, and now even colder winters. This situation highlights a certain hubris in modern city planning. It shows that sometimes old wisdom is better than new designs, if that wisdom comes from deep knowledge of the local environment. Moving an entire city is already a massive challenge,
But if the new place is less comfortable than the old one, it makes the emotional cost of moving even higher. Residents mourn not only their old homes, but also the loss of a city truly built for Arctic survival. The new Kiruna stands as a shiny, expensive example of how modern ambition can sometimes forget the very people it aims to serve, failing to optimize for fundamental human needs in a harsh climate. This leads to a new city that, despite its cost, feels less like home. 8. A lesson for the world. Kiruna's story is more than just one town's struggle. It serves as an important preview for cities all over the world. Many places will soon face similar big challenges.
Climate change brings rising sea levels and more extreme weather. Also, taking resources from the earth often means that communities must change or even move. Kiruna teaches us how hard this process can be. It acts as both a warning and a guide. The town's journey has given us many important lessons. First, having enough money is extremely important. Sweden, with strong support from LKAB, paid a large sum for the city's move. However, most communities globally do not have access to such great financial resources. Many places facing forced relocation might not get any compensation, losing their homes and livelihoods without help. Second, simply talking to people is not the same as getting their full agreement. Kiruna's people were consulted often, but many residents felt they had no real choice. The mine had to continue, so the city had to move. This shows how ordinary people can feel powerless. Moving a town means people lose more than buildings. They lose jobs, meeting places, and pieces of their cultural identity. Third, the deep knowledge of local people, especially indigenous groups like the Sami, is extremely valuable. They have lived on this land for thousands of years. They hold important wisdom about the land, the reindeer, and the ecosystem. Ignoring their concerns is not only wrong but also unwise. Their traditional ways of using the land are naturally sustainable. Fourth, designing cities to fit the local climate is essential. The new Kiruna, surprisingly, is colder and windier than the old town. Modern architects did not fully use the old wisdom about building in the Arctic. This made daily life less comfortable. If cities must move in response to environmental pressures, new designs must improve residents' quality of life, not worsen it. Kiruna shows that achieving this is harder than it looks. At its core, Kiruna's story is about an old bargain between the town and the mine. The town existed because of the mine, and the mine supported the town. When the mine grew too large, a new agreement was made. The town would move, and the mine would pay for it. Now, the relocation is about halfway finished. The new city center is growing. The old town is slowly emptying out. Nature is gently taking back the old areas. Arctic plants and lichen will grow there, restoring the land. It is like nature is slowly reclaiming what was borrowed. The snow grouse, the small white bird that gave Kiruna its Sami name, does not relocate. It endures in its environment. Humans, however, build and change things. Sometimes our own actions make places uninhabitable for ourselves. Kiruna makes us think deeply about major questions for our time. How do we balance economic growth with the preservation of communities? What do we owe to indigenous peoples whose traditional lands hold important resources? Can a city move and still keep its unique spirit? What does it truly mean to feel at home somewhere? As more communities face moving, who decides what moves and who gets left behind? Imagine your own hometown. If it had to move to save the local economy, Would you stay and follow it, or would you leave forever? The answer is not simple. Kiruna's journey gives a big lesson to the world.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.